today we're going to explore the fundamentals of Clave. Alright, I've been debating with this one dude on one of my videos, and he states over and over that Clave is not used outside of Salsa. Well, I'm here to show you otherwise, and this is not to be bashing anybody or showing anyone up. I just feel it's better to actually demonstrate what my stance is on this whole thing rather than typing out a whole novel. Okay, well, Clave, obviously, it's a guideline that you follow. It goes in two directions: 3-2 or 2-3. All right, and let's apply it to salsa, which is where it's commonly used, and people will actually clap clave or they'll play a jam block. So here we go. Bong bing 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 bong. All right, and so on. That's a 2-3 clave. All right, now let's flip it over and make it a 3-2 clave. Boom 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 bing boom 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 bing boom 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 bing boom 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 bing boom 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 bing boom boom ba boom. All right, and so on. I'm just kind of going all over the place there, but I stayed on the clave, and that's the most important thing when you're arranging music. You don't want to be flipping the clave over, otherwise you'll get a cruce, or sometimes people just call it a plain old train wreck. All right, let's talk about la plena, where clave fits in. Okay, now obviously when you're applying clave to anything outside of salsa, you don't physically play the clave, but you follow the direction of the clave, and that's where the misconception is. Okay, let's do a plena. All right. All right, and so on, and it's following a 3-2 clave. And the clave is something that you feel. It's a guideline that you use. It's a musical guideline. It's not even a time signature, because clave can be played in various time signatures if you know how to work with it. Anyway, but I'm not going to get into different time signatures because this is just the basic fundamentals of clave. All right, so right there is clave being applied to a plena, and it's obvious because you hear the rhythm, and the clave is actually being accented on there if you listen to the rhythm closely. All right, now let's get to where the debate is here. Merengue. Clave is used on merengue. There's a clave direction, and when you are arranging horn lines or a keyboard line or whatever, vocal phrases, you gotta follow a clave. And like I said, you're not playing the clave, but you're following the direction of the clave. All right? Let's take a typical modern rhythm. All right? I'm going to clap the clave to it. All right? That's a 3-2 clave. All right? And that's usually the more common used one. The one that's commonly used is a 3-2 clave with merengue. In a lot of cases, you do get it in the opposite direction, like Los Limones. And then actually what happens after that is that it jumps to the other side of the clave without flipping it, and you'll hear it. I'll show you. bum, 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 right? And you kind of heard it jump to the other side when it did a da da da, but it didn't flip it. It didn't cross it. And you know those arrangers back then were brilliant. Eddie Palmieri is another good arranger, and he does that. So does Willie Rosario. I don't know who his arranger is, but whoever arranges his material, they do stuff like that, and you know it's quite clever. So there is clave in merengue, as I demonstrated. All right, now here's the one. Here's kind of like the one that him and I have been kind of joking around with back and forth. Jingle Bells. He said that there is in clave in Jingle Bells. Well, if you were to take Jingle Bells and let's say put it into a plena, you would have to be cognizant of the clave on the song. All right, here we go. I'll demonstrate. Dum bum 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 da da dum 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 bum 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 da da ba dum 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 bum 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 da da dum bum 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 dum dum da 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 and so on. Now, if you notice in the beginning, I changed it a little bit, but then halfway through, I went back to how the song originally goes, and showed you how it actually fit into the clave. So, there's clave whether you think so or not. It's there, and a lot of it I think it's just there subconsciously, and people just don't realize it. It's there. It's definitely there. In rock, you'll hear it sometimes, and not all the time, but sometimes you'll hear it. Here's an old tune. Oh, What a Night. It's kind of like a popish top 40 type of tune. Oh, what a night. All right, and if you notice, they don't break away from there, nor do they go in a different direction. You'll hear the guitar part, all right, and you'll hear it revolving around the clave, and obviously it's a 3/2 clave in that case. You can take let's see, I want to rock and roll all night, party every day. I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. You can already start putting stuff to it in a 3/2 clave feel. So there you go.